Now, JT, you got a question for Baha?
I do. Now, you told me when you were growing up that this was basically the vehicle that ran around the village.
Yes.
Now,
it was,
I want to know where this was and roughly what year, what you're talking about.
So we're going back to 1970s. There was 3 of them in the village, and this was the only vehicles.
You mean these 3 Jeeps?
The 3 Jeeps were the only vehicles, and there was a big truck, 2 of them.
But hey, I have a question. I really do.
We'll fire your question away, JT.
Where did you get parts if something went bad?
Off of one of the other 2.
No. Well, that's
Well, there
they do it in
was
Cuba?
many more around, but in our village there was only 3 of the Jeeps that we had for transportation. Let's say if someone gets sick, you would send somebody to their home to call them to take the people to the hospital. So there was only 3. This is the only things that we have seen for many years, beside the big truck.
Yeah.
Now, Baha, what area of Turkey was that exactly?
This is on the Black Sea, place called Hemşin. That's where I was born.
Roughly how many people? How many people in the village back then?
But back then we had a lot of people. Let's say about 180, 190 people lived. Today, you can hardly find 30, 40.
Yeah.
See, Baha,
Most people probably navigated back to the bigger city centers
Yes.
for jobs and things
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
All the
and
questions.
you can hardly see. This is like antique cars now. People try to buy.
Well, all the questions he's asking is interesting to me because I've never been out of the country, and you have. But this Jeep, as I told you a little bit ago, the owner wanted everything in here clean, and I'm sure the outside looks like what you saw back then because now this Jeep came from White Sands, New Mexico. It was on the military base for probably 15, 20 years before it was sold to a rancher. And then a friend of mine bought it a few years ago, and when he gets them, he sends them to me, and
we turn it into videos for that Redneck Willys Jeep Show.com.
That's right. But yeah, that motor had about that much grease on it. So I had to scrape it all off, clean it with gas, clean it with 409 to try to make it where the paint would stick, prime it, paint it. But we're having a good time.
Believe it or not, when we see these cars driving around the village, we would run behind the car to smell the smoke coming out of the exhaust.
Yeah.
You were smelling the pipes?
I tell you,
It was probably a good smell because it was really cool to see a vehicle running around.
Yeah.
and I love the car so where I could run for a miles behind. Because back then it was a dirt road, so you couldn't speed up.
Yeah.
More than maybe 15, maybe 10 miles an hour. So we would actually run behind. To
Jeff,
touch.
Baha has shown me many pictures and everything in Turkey, and I have to tell you, it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country.
Well,
There's some of these areas that just will blow your mind.
as I said, I've never been outside the country. I don't know if it's
gorgeous.
mountainous. I would say it is.
Well, where I was born and raised, yes, there is.
And the
actually-
Black Sea, isn't that a really deep, deep, deep sea?
It is. It's border of Russia.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
So for those of you who may not know, we actually had jobs outside of that Redneck Willys Jeep Show. Now we're famous and big entertainers and stars, and we get stopped in the airport and signing autographs currently and forever for the future. And if you'd like a special autograph from me, why don't you just let me know, and I'll be happy to sign my name to a piece of paper. But outside of
love
that,
to.
the 3 of us actually working a job outside of this in a very, I don't think you'd probably guess it. You might guess it with Baha and myself, but JT with the Santa Claus look, I'm not so sure that's going to float very well.
Why would he talk like this about me?
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Hey,
I know why.
I've only known you
I
for
don't
40
know.
I
years.
know why. So let me tell you something. I've been
Get on it,
watching
man.
every episodes, and I've enjoyed so much, and I've subscribed, and I liked every minute of it.
Even this annoying guy on this side
So,
that talks like a freaking idiot.
Whoever watched this video, better subscribe and like it.
Hey, he's giving
I'll
us
tell
a
you
plug,
something.
JT. You got that? And that's
I
from
have.
the Redneck Turkey guy.
That's
And I'm
right.
trying to be a redneck, so
Oh, you don't got to try
Get
that. You
that.
fit like a glove, baby.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to my point. We actually work in a hotel.
We sure
We're
do.
actually responsible for providing great service. And Baha's one of those super high up leaders in the hotel. Me and Jeff, we just float around like butterflies and sting like bees.
I work for you. Don't forget that.
Slow down now. Slow down. Slow down. We don't got to be talking all about that or anything. But I have to tell you, man, I love you, Baha. I love you like a brother. And it wouldn't take me very much to get to a tear out of my eye right now because I love you that much.
And I do the
I love
same.
you too, and I'm glad you're here.
Likewise. I love you and your family. Every one of them.
And though for my daughter recently got married, and Baha was a tremendous help for that. And I really, really, really sincerely appreciate that. My brother.
Anytime.
From another mother. Got that right.
Always available for you.
So JT, walk Baha through some of the other things we got to do to cross off some finishing touches on this bad boy.
Well, you can see that most of it is getting put back together. Today we're going to do fuel line, carburetor.